British #1 on the men's side right now is a guy named Dan Evans, as we welcome back in Jimmy and Lindsay. And, well, Dan is not very happy with some of the top players, saying they may not want to play the U.S. Open or some of these Grand Slams if they do happen. And take a look at the reasons why, Jimmy. And part of that, he says Novak and Rafa should be looking to help players with lower ranks. What do you make of this?
I actually agree with Dan on a lot of levels. He's a funny guy, Evans. He's so competitive. I like watching him practice in the offseason, and IMG's always gambling. He's one of those kind of players that just wants to compete in anything he does. He sees tennis behind other sports. They're starting up quicker. I mean, there is reasons for that. We're such an international sport, more so than almost any other. The top players having 2 or 3 people on their teams, that is all true. It's sort of an equalizer if they're only allowed one. I like that in some ways. And he's right, again, with the Grand Slams, they're a relief fund for these sort of lower-ranked players. That's really where they make their money to pay for the rest of the year to travel to the other tournaments. Even if you lose 4 first rounds in the majors, you've had a decent year. You've covered your expenses.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I mean, for so long, it's a sport that you're only worried about yourself. How do you play your best? And for these players at the very top, they've really nailed it, especially on the men's side. How do you win 7 3-out-of-5 set matches? What does that take recovery-wise? Every single person on their team knows their role. Now, all of a sudden, you take everybody out of the equation, and it's a much different ask of these top players. For a sport that is historically been, you worry about yourself, and these players are going for history. It's a lot of things in play for them. Do they need to play for the rest of the tour? That is the big debate right now. Obviously, a Grand Slam most likely isn't going to happen if you have all these big name players saying, yeah, we're not going with those rules and regulations. And that is a deal breaker. That is huge for those players that Jimmy are talking about that are ranked between 20 and about 120, because they need the Grand Slams more than anything. But the fact of the matter is, Rafa, Roger, Novak, they can all afford to wait till next year if they don't like the playing conditions.
That's a great point. That relief fund for the lower-ranked players, but history on the line for the big three right now every time they step on the court at a major.